How's it going, everybody? It's Stas here. Welcome back to another video. So in today's video, we're going to be doing an overall market update, taking a look at the Dow Jones, the S&P 500, and the NASDAQ. We're also going to be doing a trading update, talking about what I personally did today in the stock market. And as you all read in the title, I bought one stock today in the stock market. And I also want to go over what I'm watching here in terms of individual stocks and ETFs heading into the month of March in 2020. And one more thing, guys, gold. Gold has been flying. There are two ETFs that I'm watching here that trade based upon gold. One I actually own that you can use to hedge against market fears and really the market in general. When the market goes down, you can use gold, and some of these ETFs I'm going to share with you all to hedge against the market. So sit back, relax. If you guys enjoy this video, hit that like button for me and consider subscribing to the channel if you want to see further content like this. And don't forget to get your 2 free stocks from Webull down below in the description box, valued up to $1,400 with a deposit of $100. So without further ado, guys, let's talk about it, because the markets, that is, because today has been a ridiculous day. Yet again, another drop off in the S&P, the NASDAQ, and the Dow Jones, with the S&P here being down $35.48 at the close, down just a bit over 1%, or 1.05% to be exact here. And if you guys were paying attention to these markets yesterday, you saw the rapid selling that we were experiencing. And if you watched my video yesterday, we talked about this level 3350 being the support that we needed to hold in order to maintain really this horizontal channel. So we saw that big drop off yesterday. It looked like a panic sell off to me, right? We can see it fell about 50 points in the span of 30 minutes. And this morning, when we broke below that 3350 level, which again is that level that we were watching, this led me to believe that we were going to see more selling today, right? More pressure to the downside, which is obviously what ended up happening, right? This is one of those days where I did end up predicting the end, but guys, it's never like that. Not never, because today I did, but it's not always like that, right? It's not always like that. You can't predict everything, obviously, right? That's a given here. And really, we can see the downtrend has been maintained, right, for the whole entire day. We saw the big drop off, that technical break, 3350. We saw how it continued for the rest of the day, and really that 180 and that 50 SMA here on this 1-day, 1-minute chart, they maintained as resistances. So as of now, the downtrend is intact. So as we pull down, or rather on the 1-day, 1-minute, the downtrend is intact. So now as we pull out to this 4-hour chart, we're at a point where, technically speaking, the S&P, I can see it holding here, right? We're at a previous resistance as a new support now, and that level was the old all-time high at around 3330, right? That was back towards the end of January, so roughly a month ago. And we're also on top of that 50 simple moving average here on the 4-hour chart. So that's very interesting, guys, because technically speaking, and it's clear based on this chart, we've held that green 50 SMA, the simple moving average here, for really the past 6 months at this point. It's been a long time. So if we were to break this to the downside, that could be a big trigger sell. That could trigger a lot of selling, where we may sell off, hey, maybe another 1 to 2%. And what I'm paying attention to this weekend is really on Sunday, the futures market, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard. That's where we see, what the NASDAQ's looking like, the S&P, Dow, gold, crude oil, natural gas, all of these futures we can see and then plan the upcoming week of trading. So if we were to drop aggressively, let's say on the S&P futures on Sunday, maybe another 0.5%, well, that could tell me, I'm doing my thinking process here, well, we may sell off even further heading into Monday, especially if the blood continues into Monday's pre-market session. So those are some thoughts there on the S&P. I'm hoping, guys, that we do end up no, I said that wrong. I'm hoping that we end up holding this 50 SMA this week, or rather next week. And I bought some stock that you'll see here in a little bit that really kind of goes with that thesis, right? And the NASDAQ is what really got bludgeoned today, guys. This thing was down 200 points at one point. It closed down, I think, around 170, as you guys can see here. Well, these are the futures, so maybe are they falling after hours? Let me double check here with my Yahoo Finance app for you all. We can see, okay, 174 down is what the NASDAQ closed, so it seems like it's on a bit of an upswing, little bit of an upswing since the close of the market. But nonetheless, it closed down 1.75%, which is very, very bad. And in yesterday's video, we talked about this 50 SMA holding. Well, it didn't hold heading into today's session, right? Which is why I'm thinking this 180 SMA here on this 4-hour chart, this could end up holding as a support, whether it's up here at about 93.50, because with a couple more days of data, that could end up being where the SMA meets the candlesticks here, right? Maybe at around 93.50. That could be another, let's say, 1% sell-off from where we are here. So if we're looking at risk reward just on the NASDAQ, keeping this 180 SMA kind of as our barrier, where let's say if we were to break that, we would cut losses, that is, we have to the upside about 3-4%, especially if this hits another all-time high. But to the downside, using that 180 SMA as our, again, that barrier where we'd cut it, it's only about 1%. So if we were to dump even further, guys, that could open up an intriguing buy for a lot of these tech stocks, which you'll see in a second which one I bought today. It could bring them to an even better price where we can enter cheaper. Well, me, that is, you, if you do your research, for swing trades. So the Dow, very quickly, before I ramble on even more, because I feel like I'm rambling right now, which I know I'm not, guys. I know you guys find value in these videos, and if you do, go down below, hit that like button, and again, consider subscribing. But the Dow held up pretty decently today. 227 down about 0.78% on the day. So it did the best out of the three major indexes here. And like the S&P, or rather like the NASDAQ, let me see the S&P very quickly. No, S&P is holding the 50, yup, like I thought. But like the NASDAQ, the Dow is breaking the 50 SMA, meaning that we may have another 0.7, 0.8, maybe 1% red in store here before we maybe find support, let's say at around $28,500. So for me, I'm definitely watching that level there. And again, if the futures markets, they gap down, that could really indicate that we're going to this 180 SMA, guys. Let's be honest. And at that point, that could open up some dip buys. Really, if you're trading ETFs based on the Dow Jones, and in general, if the Dow falls, the markets fall, that's going to open up opportunities in different ETFs across all of these markets and individual stocks. So that's kind of the market update here. Let me know down below, guys. The markets, they're in a funky spot right now. They are. But for me, I'm still viewing this from a bullish perspective. I don't think there's going to be a crisis where the market's just going to crash right now. That could very well happen. Who knows? But my gut's telling me buy the dip, honestly. But guys, do your own research. Don't do that because I'm saying it. But for me, that's kind of what I'm viewing this as. And I'm a little bit more cash heavy. And really, it's serving me well here because there might be some more opportunities, but just figured to throw that out there. So let me know in the comments, what are your thoughts about that? Now let's talk about what I bought today. And I bought, drumroll please, hope you guys like that, MSFT, Microsoft. And this is one that I already owned. I bought last week, or really earlier this week. I've been buying some Microsoft, right? I bought in the low 180s, 182, 183, and today when I saw this massive dump off this morning, I nibbled more shares, guys. I bought a little bit more at around 179. As it got to 178, I didn't get that price right there. That would have been ideal, but we can't time it perfectly, guys. That's impossible every single time to time it perfectly. Sometimes you get lucky, you get a good timing, maybe a couple times, but To think that you'll get the perfect timing every time, it's naive, right? So I saw the bottom, it popped. I bought a little bit more Microsoft here. And as you guys can see, it trended down for really the rest of the day. And I ended up buying not at 177.25 again, did not time that bottom, but I ended up buying a little bit more at around 178. And you guys may be asking yourself, Stas, why are you buying Microsoft? Are you buying into a falling knife right now? Well, I kind of am at the end of the day, right? The pattern has not really found a support. You know, this chart really looks like it could fall maybe down to about 170, maybe about 175 bucks. There really is no sign that Microsoft is bottoming out, but that's okay, because this is key here, guys. When you're dealing with swing trading, there's time frames. Not every swing is going to be for 1 week. Not every swing is going to be for 2 weeks, right? Every swing has a different time frame. So the one I'm looking here at, the time frame I'm looking here with Microsoft is more of a 1 to 2 month time frame window. So I'm okay averaging down on Microsoft. I'll be honest though, if it were to break the 180 SMA and we were to get slippery down to the 160s, I'd get nervous, but these are the ways, or really, this is kind of a risk you take as a trader, right? And there's ways to mitigate that risk. And for me, again, I'm looking to buy into this weakness, because as a 2 month, 1 month swing trade, which is the outlook I have, this could end up rebounding. Let's say I have built a nice average cost, let's say at around 175, maybe 177, 178. If I built this up to a nice juicy position and it rebounds back to 190, guys, think about that. That's a nice 6-7% swing, maybe even more if it hits 195, maybe to 200 bucks, like we've seen a bunch of price targets here, right? That's a 7 to 10% swing trade. So I feel comfortable buying into the weakness here, and quite frankly, I'm going to keep buying. If this thing falls to 175, 173, whatever, I'd buy even more and probably heavier at that point. But there is going to be a point where I'd stop the buying, and that might be around low 170s, and we'll talk about that in the next couple of videos here. So overall, that's what I'm doing, guys. Microsoft, I believe in just buying into the weakness. Every single time I see weakness with a company, a beast company like Microsoft, I think it's prudent, I think it's wise to just consider maybe buying a little bit, right? And that's not me telling you to do that. You have to do your own research, again, like I always say, and buy for yourselves. So that's what I'm doing, guys. And the second thing that I did today was I sold off some Uber. Really, I just sold out of the entire position here just to really mitigate my risk against further downside in the market here heading into next week. I had a pretty decent position built in Uber. I kind of told you guys yesterday where I was buying, but my average cost over these past couple of days was around $39.94. That's what it was. I checked before this video. It was right around here. Not that I bought it here, but that was the average cost. And today I ended up selling it right before the market closed at around 40, or not before the market closed, right around here at around $40.72. So I made a decent profit there on Uber here. If we go from $39.94 up to around where I sold it, it was around a 2% trade, guys. Nothing crazy, but it was profit, and I figured it's Friday before the weekend. Markets are getting a bit slippery here. Let me just take some money off the table, lock in profits, play it safe, and one wise man told me no one went broke ever by locking in profits. So it's never a bad idea to do that if you are feeling a bit iffy and the markets are getting a bit slippery. So let me know down below in the comments, what do you guys think about that? Microsoft, do you agree, disagree? Am I an idiot? Am I going to lose money? Let me know down below in the comments, and with any other trades that you have made, took today or in the previous couple of days. So now let's just run through some stocks, guys. Markets, again, they were bloody today, so that means a lot of stocks were bloody, especially tech stocks. We can look here. Well, my face is down here, so you probably can't see that, but Facebook got slaughtered today, guys. And this is one that, like I mentioned before, you can't always time things right, but this one for me, I timed it right. I ended up getting out at 217, like I mentioned in yesterday's video, and I'm glad I did, because since then, obviously, the price has gotten crushed. But when the price is getting crushed, this is where you can take advantage of the opportunity if you see the opportunity. So for me, do I see the opportunity quite yet? Not really with Facebook. I want to give it 1 or 2 more days of trading, but it's worth watching here. Down $4.40 today, down 2%. Amazon got crushed almost 3% here, down $60 on the day. Apple down $7.25 on the day here. And this is not looking too good for Apple. If we were to take a little dump off, well, we already are, but if we were to take a further dump off below this 180 SMA and maybe we broke 308, this could lead to maybe a further sell-off, maybe back to, let's say, 300, maybe 295 for Apple. And that's where it could get a bit scary, guys, because at that point, we may be seeing further panic selling. Who knows? Because there's a lot of people out there that trade based on just technicals, and that could end up happening. Who knows, guys? All options are open in today's stock market, right? Google down $33 today, down 2.18%. Google, I think, could end up being a nice pickup, let's say at around $14.50 if we end up holding the support that we held after the earnings report a couple weeks ago. That's kind of where I'm watching there for Google. AMD got squashed today, guys. Down $4 per share, down 7% on the day. And out of all the stocks in this video, well, not Microsoft, but out of all of the ones, I'd say AMD is the most attractive to me. Well, AMD and Microsoft, those two I think offer a lot of potential here, just due to the nature of the pattern that we're seeing and really the price action history in the stock. You can clearly see here, we've done this pattern before. Take a look. You can see these two trend lines, right? From 46 bucks, from 46 bucks, we ran up to 52 bucks, right? And what did we do there? We pulled back down, we held that 180 SMA, which happened to be that $47 previous resistance as a new support, right? And what's happening now? We ran above 52 bucks. We hit the all-time high. Pretty much, we've been hitting all-time highs on AMD. Now we almost hit 60 bucks. We pulled down, and we're looking to test that old resistance yet again as a new support. So in my thinking here, if we hold 52 bucks for AMD, maybe even if we go down to that 180 SMA, maybe down to $51 for AMD, that could be a nice buy range. I'm thinking $51 to $53. Anywhere in this range, you can see right here my cursor moving, guys. This area right here, I'd consider scooping some shares of AMD. Sure, I could have here in today's session, but the truth is I was buying Microsoft pretty heavily. I already sold my Uber shares off, so I want to play it again a bit conservative heading into the weekend. But sure, on Monday, that might be the day I buy some AMD, and we'll see what ends up happening with this stock. And another one that I can't believe I didn't mention in yesterday's video, but yesterday's video was a bit off the cuff since I just got back from my trip, but DPZ, Domino's Pizza, this is one that I saw, and I can't believe I missed it. It was up almost $100 per share. And what day was this? What day of trading was this? Let me double check, guys. This was yesterday, I believe, on the 19th of February. Heading into the 20th of February, this stock went from 302 to 381. And overall, guys, Domino's, they reported killer earnings. That's kind of what set the stock to fly, right? Q4 EPS came in at $3.13 versus $2.98 expected. Revenue came in at $1.15 billion versus $1.12 billion. And really a key driver in the stock's performance, other than that killer earnings report there, was the boosted quarterly dividend payout the 20% boosted dividend quarterly payout, guys. So they raised rather their dividend by 20% from 65 cents per share to 78 cents per share. So quarterly now they're paying 78 cents per share, which adds up to $3.12 of annual dividends, bringing their yield to 84.84% on the year. So one thing here with DPZ that I took notice in, not that I'm an expert in DPZ or the pizza industry or the restaurant industry. Honestly, I do own McDonald's. I know a bit about McDonald's, but DPZ, it seems like they've been executing pretty well. And that really shows in the stock's price, right? If a company's executing well, management's doing well, the stock price is typically going up, right? That makes sense, right? If you see a company not doing well, mismanaging, that's when the stock does poorly and, or the company does poorly and, the stock goes down. So it makes sense. And one thing that worries me about that is, let's say DPZ at this point, again, it shot up to 380. Let's say it consolidates here a little bit, shoots to 400, whatever. But let's say management messes up, something, a wrench gets thrown at their company, something that can end up really correcting the stock. One little thing, one little bad thing, since it's been going so well for them, any little, negative piece of something that can end up taking the stock down, right? And especially if they get killed, not even killed, but let's say they disappoint in terms of earnings, right? Their EPS, their revenue. Let's say management their guidance is weaker than expected for maybe in a couple quarters from now. Anything, guys, this could end up sending a stock, really any stock that's been doing well and been crushing it recently, down. It could really do that to any stock, and I feel like that's the risk here with DPZ, especially at these levels. So I gave you guys my 2 cents on Dominos. Let me know down below what's your thought there. Now, let's talk about SPCE very quickly before we take a look at gold, because gold, guys, has been crushing it. So SPCE down 9% today, down $3.39. And if we zoom in a bit here, we can see that the uptrend is slowly breaking on this hourly chart. Well, not the overall trend because it's obviously still up, but if we're just judging this 50 SMA support, yeah, the trend is breaking. We're starting to really test at this point the $30 level of support. Let me look at this 5-day, 5-minute very quickly. We can see it a bit better, right? 33 rather level of support. I'm thinking if space breaks here, maybe we can go down to the 29 level, $29 and maybe roughly $30 level. And if we zoom back to, let's say, that 20-day, 1-hour chart, that could be putting it at an interesting spot, especially if, let's say, we broke 29, we went to the mid-20s. I know that's a far ways from here. That's about $8 below, but that could open up an interesting spot on that 180 SMA. But honestly, guys, with the way that the stock has been moving, and especially if they have a kick, the word I'm about to say, I can't say because YouTube will demonetize this video, but if they have a stellar, let's put it that way, a stellar earnings, this stock could end up going up. Not even a stellar earnings, but let's say they get a good piece of news in the earnings, some information from the conference call. This thing can pop. So expect it to be very choppy, very volatile during that earnings period, and especially during that earnings call. And I'll probably tune into it, although I'm not an investor in space, SPCE, but it's interesting in my eyes to learn more about it, to just get in tune with some of these companies that are kind of out of my comfort zone, if I'm being quite honest with you all. So J&J, one more, guys, here in terms of stocks. This did well today, up $1.56, up 1%. And my belief is because this is a more, considered more of a safe company, right? It's more of a investment where, people could flock to it when, let's say, growth stocks are suffering or the markets in general are seeing some turmoil, because companies like J&J, these more defensive stocks, they offer a dividend yield and they're considered more defensive, right? And this one, is holding that 180 SMA here, as we can see on a technical basis. And I think if the market sees more pressure, which it might, right, some more volatility, this could end up being a nice play, maybe back to the 150s, 155 general area, which offers around, let's take a look here, about a 2 to 3% potential for profit. So those are the stocks that I'm watching here, guys. I can go on all day about the stocks, but we have to talk about gold to wrap up this video. And take a look at this. It's up $25 right now an ounce. Excuse me, up 1.57%. And we hit a high here. Was this today at about 1652.1? This was earlier today, this morning, at about 10:15 Eastern Standard Time. And guys, I know many of you know this, but gold, it goes up whenever there's fear in the market, right? Whenever the markets in general are selling off, there's kind of a thought that the markets may sell off even more. People go into gold. They view it as a hedge against the dollar, the markets, the economy in general, and that's kind of what pushes up the price of anything. When people are buying, more buyers and sellers, the price goes up, right? And that's kind of what we're seeing here with gold. But if you take a bird's eye view at it, this means, again, that people are scared right now. People are fearful. You saw the VIX today up $1.52, right? $1.52, that equates to a 10% move in the VIX today. So the fear is definitely there. So for me, I'm looking to invest in GLD. This is one that I already own, and if you watch my M1 Finance portfolio series, you know this, and if you haven't, check that link down below in the description box. Check out my recent, portfolio updates so you can see what I own there. But GLD is one that I own, and this is a reason to own gold, guys. This goes up pretty much when the markets are falling. So if you have a portfolio of equities, stocks, which mine is really all stocks other than GLD, it can hedge against that. It can hedge against that and do well when the markets are bleeding. So GLD is definitely worth watching, and if you don't view it as a long-term hold, you can really swing trade it as well. Although I don't really do that, to be honest. I view it more as a long-term hold. You can really swing trade it, right? It really depends on the patterns that you see potential in. Another one is a 3x leveraged ETF called JNUG. This goes up whenever GDX goes up, and GDX is simply a gold miners ETF that pretty much does well when gold does well, right? These all, although they don't really move completely in unison, right? And please do your own research on all of these individually. But pretty much when gold does well, you see GDX do well, you see JNUG do well, and JNUG really is the product of GDX, like I said, right? JNUG goes up 3 times what GDX goes up. So this is a way to really get a leveraged way to trade gold. It's a bit more risky, but if you're looking to day trade gold, if you're seeing that potential where the markets are falling, gold's starting to creep up, JNUG could be an option for you, and I'm definitely watching it here as the markets, and if the markets get more rocky. So overall, guys, that's pretty much it for today's video. If you all enjoyed it, feel free to go down below, hit that like button, and also consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't done so already. And if you haven't gotten your 2 free stocks, what are you doing? That link is down below in the description box. They're valued up to $1,400 with a deposit of $100 or more. So I'll catch you all in the next video. Have a great weekend. Thanks for watching as always. Peace out.